Alright. Hello everyone, and now welcome to a game of Sock versus Moon. This game taking place here on Autumn Leaves 2.0. Moon spawning as the yellow night elf on the bottom left hand side of the map. Meanwhile, Sock spawning as the blue human on the top right. For some reason, my overlay is not working. Tried to repair it, but well, no such luck. So, well, time to do it the old-fashioned way, constantly clicking things, trying to figure out all of those fine details for you. Anyways, as we get into this 1v1 matchup, human versus night elf, on a map that only has, well, that has two additional expansions to try and take. I really like how this game and games have developed on this map. When Autumn Leaves first was introduced to the map player pool, or map pool, for the players, a lot of players would try to quickly rush and take down this 5-3-3 creep camp in this forward position and almost act as a bit of an outpost to launch additional attacks out. Now, there's been a bit of a change. Players are actually starting to clear out this creep camp first and trying to be a little bit further back or not even expoing at all. In games past, it always felt like there was at least one expansion within the first 5 minutes of the game. That is not always necessarily the case. All right, happy belated Father's Day. Thank you, and happy Father's Day to all of those fathers out there. The joys, the ups and downs of being a father, yep, they are real. Um, yeah, being a parent is very difficult, and stays difficult, but it does get more rewarding. That's all I'll say about that as we focus on this game here and get to the 2 minute mark. Keeper of the Grove now out up across the field. You're going to try and clear out this Kobold Tunneler creep camp here, absorbing quite a bit of damage. There's some treants, and here we are kind of off to the races. That Kobold Taskmaster actually chasing that Archer a bit more than I thought he would here, as the Kobold Taskmaster now finally makes his way back, or actually getting a little bit stuck. Meanwhile, back off to the north, Archmage going to go ahead and clear out this Ogre Magi creep camp. This is going to give that Archmage nearly level 3. And are we going to actually see an expo set up by Sock in the forward position? We are. All right, Keeper of the Grove gets the level 2, gets a Claws of Attack plus 8. That is going to be an extra large amount of damage early on in this game. Getting ranged heroes, that Claws of Attack plus 8, and now this Keeper of the Grove gonna rush off to the north here, perhaps try and clear out any of those peasants. No expansion. It looked like the Wisp just stood there for a while, looking like they were gonna set up an expo, and now have decided to back off. Alright, Treant's going to go ahead and quickly be hired up here. Not quite sure what they're going to be used for. I guess Moon just pretty much checking the expansion more than anything else, making sure that an expo is not placed down later. That Keeper of the Grove has used quite a bit of mana, could have entangled some footmen and perhaps tried to pick them off, as the tech to tier 2 has begun by Moon, since he hasn't seen, well, really any indication of what Sock's plan is. Alright, so far looking at Sock has gotten to level 2, sold that Slippers of Agility. It looked like he was feigning an expo, and now, what is this? These peasants are actually coming around the far side here and just kind of hiding out. This force of nature, it may be able to spot all of these peasants here. Yeah, they are going to spot the peasants here, as we are looking at the Keeper of the Grove finishing off a Forest Troll Shadow Priest there. Archmage perhaps going to try and keep those units at bay, as this force of nature will end up falling as well. Sock, it looked like he was going to be setting up an expansion, then he wasn't, and a Moon with the foresight and knowledge to leave a couple of treants there to actually do a long-term scout, does see the expo now go up. Right, Ancient of War off in position here, Footman taking a pelting of arrows from those archers as he tries to run on by. Now, no Arcane Vault as of yet, no easy way to heal for Sock, as the Keeper of the Grove only staying at level 2 during this time, but with that Claws of Attack plus 8, will be able to do significantly more damage than expected. Also, we can see that Moon did hire up some additional Forest Troll Berserkers as a Tree of Life is also being placed down as well. This town hall is nearly done being built. Keeper of the Grove could try and get some entangles. There's one entangle, but the rest of the Footman army is here to try and punish as well, as that footman will end up getting taken down. Meanwhile, Forest Troll Berserker going to be forced to retreat back as the last hit. Is it going to be enough? Trying to hide away in that Arcane Tower. But remember, still no Arcane Vault. Still no easy healing for all of those low hit point footmen who are hiding behind this tower now. Coming back now, we are looking at an Arcane Vault being built off to the north. Keeper of the Grove could just try and shut this down, that peasant there. And anytime he can perhaps shut down a bit of the option of healing, he may then be able to get a crack at all of these units hiding inside the base as more militia are now being called over. All right, it looked as though an Ancient of War or a Tree of Life is now nearly halfway done. Pressure is mounting up here, but with the additional reinforcements, may be able to fend this off. Naga Sea Witch quickly hired up from the tavern to apply additional pressure as, well, Sock is getting that bonus gold right now, but it needs to translate into on-field presence. Water Elemental. Well, getting in a little bit of damage here. It looks as though the Archmage is not going to be able to save this footman here. Footman down to 27 hit points. All the units are trying to hide back on the inside. There's the Scroll of Regeneration. Beautiful, beautiful buying of time here as the Arcane Tower is going to offer a bit of protection. Only one Arcane Tower, though. Repairs are going to be needed. Treants are now coming off the line here as the repairs are perhaps trying to go after that Keeper of the Grove. Keeper of the Grove going to take a little bit of damage. Treants are now trying to make their way through. Here we are, here we go. Low hit point footmen now actually getting their healing disrupted, trying to retreat back. All three of those footmen are in, well, grave danger as there's no real pressure or damage onto that Keeper of the Grove right now. One footman down. Another footman could get taken down. The Keeper of the Grove needs to keep that pressure on those units. There goes a second footman as the Keeper of the Grove does not have enough room to slip out of this position now. More militia are pushing their way on through here. There goes another low hit point footman down to 6 hit points just outside of the range and now forced to use a Scroll of Town Portal. We're going to see another, well, Scroll of Regeneration used here, healing up those footmen, these peasants, as there is a bit of oversaturation on this gold mine. Main base now teching the tier 2 off on the north. Meanwhile, on the bottom side here, we are already transitioning into Dryads as the Tree of Life is getting into position and will be entangling this center gold mine outpost. All right, nearly 8 minutes into this game, both players are going to be setting up expos in this forward position, and because it is the forward position, we're going to see a bit more aggression on both sides. Both players can easily attack a relatively weak position from their opponent as the Keeper of the Grove now already retreating back here. Naga Sea Witch is sitting at level 2 with a Ring of Superiority, +1 to every stat. Meanwhile, back across here, Blacksmith going to get... Well, Blacksmith going to go ahead and get completed here for that transition to perhaps Riflemen and some Casters once we get to tier 2. All right, Keeper of the Grove wants to open up this base here of quite a few towers here as Arcane Tower is in position. Quite a few blacksmiths, but because, or a few buildings, but because of all of these ranged units, able to keep them at bay. Hey, Crota, I hope you are well. I've had you on my list for many years now. Always nice to see. Well, thank you. Taking the time to do commentaries. Yeah, not my full-time job. I try to discourage anyone that I meet to try to be a full-time streamer. It is a very it is very tiring and exhausting to just try and be like especially for a lot of gamers who are naturally introverted, to try and be on and turn on that charisma, that energy. It's tough. It really is tough to try and do that. Anyways, coming back on through Naga Sea Witch, now trailing across that Archmage. Meanwhile, we are still looking at Dryads and Archers being able to, well, perhaps find Riflemen and Footmen here. The Footmen do have defense, so Sock is in a great position. The Riflemen have a decent armor against the piercing damage of the Dryads, and and the archers here. So we need perhaps to eventually see a transition into bears. Footman now retreating back here. There goes an entangle, and well, as the keeper of the grove does deal heroic damage, able to deal full damage against those defending footmen. Meanwhile, Archmage down to the south side here really wants a partner. As we are going into tier 2, we are seeing that Mountain King get up here. And this is this larger army that Moon was able to mass, a higher tier army that Moon was able to mass up while the expo was getting underway. Really trying to punish the opponent, as now a little bit tight on land space. Moon is trying to build workshops outside of the safety and protection of these towers and unable to do so. Coming back through Archmage, it looks as though they're going to be able to stop or destroy this entangled gold mine here. We're getting a lot of repair, but still that does end up buying a little bit of slowdown in gold, as the Mountain King is going to be making its presence here just in a second. Mountain King now currently out, but well, quickly finds himself surrounded by a large army. Mountain King is going to go ahead and lay down a Stormbolt, trying to figure out where exactly he can go. Priest is nearby as well, going to offer a bit of healing, but Mountain King cannot really survive there at level 1. All right, Fork Lightning finishing off a couple of those peasants here. That is a lot of range piercing damage, and that is, well, that is just slowly picking out all of the units that are coming out here. The army needs to somehow mass up together and then fully engage against this army here. The Naga Sea Witch, the Dryads are just taking down these units that are coming out pretty much one at a time and slowly getting their a hero level advantage. Meanwhile, Sok is down on the bottom left hand side trying to take down these Ancient of Lores, trying to put in a pressure that well, isn't really doing very much as of yet. Coming back to the center here, Ancient of War gonna go ahead and clear out a Forest Troll Warlord creep camp, give perhaps that Naga Sea Witch access to level 4 Keeper of the Grove, buying a couple of items as well. Gonna head it back down to the south and at least visit the Moonwells, get a bit more mana before venturing out once again. Hunter's Hall, we are getting up improved Wild Strength Ultra Vision a bit later than normal, and also perhaps we'll get those Moon Spring upgrades too. Moon full saturation on these gold mines, looking absolutely perfect, as we can see another expo on the bottom right hand side of the map. Soon Moon will have that economic advantage. Sok seems to be perhaps a little bit, not PJ. Thank you. Happy Father's Day. Yep. Thank you. Every bit of support does definitely help. Views have been down lately. Don't know why, but then again, well, videos have been down as well. So maybe I just need to crank out more as well. Coming back across here, Naga Sea Witch, Dryads, Archers making their way off to the top right-hand side. Perhaps going to clear out this relatively easy orange creep camp, giving that Naga Sea Witch level 4, level 2 cold arrows, and level 2 Fork Lightning. Yeah, I bet it is. Yeah. Anyways, get some Wendy's for the crew. All right, I'll definitely grab some lunch for the kids. Happy Juneteenth to all of you. That means that I will be, well, working dad at home with all of my kids today, since all of the daycares and summer schools are closed as well. All right, anyways, coming back around, Dryads, Archers going to go ahead and go after this Null Overseer creep camp. Moon, Ancient of War, absorbing quite a bit of damage. Coming back across the other side, Archmage is now fighting alongside the Priest and those mortar teams, so does have the right army composition to deal with these Dryads and these Archers. Tech to tier 3 is done, with perhaps Druids of the Claw soon to be on their way, as we're going into a massive race to try to just get experience from the map. A Sok sitting with a level 3 Archmage, level 2 Mountain King has a bit of work to do, as we see some Treants now trying to break their way inside the main base here. We are teching the tier 3 by Sok. That means we are going to be getting up some Knights, as well as the Keeper of the Grove and Naga Sea Witch, perhaps going to try and, well, get some Fork Lightning and some Entangles to finish off some of those units. Mountain King, no Stormbolt to do a final stun on that Keeper of the Grove, as the Keeper of the Grove backs up again. Keeper of the Grove does have plus 14 attack. That Robe of Magi, coupled with that coupled with that clause of attack +8, the auto attack on that Keeper of the Grove is going to be highly powerful indeed. All right, a major battle here. Mortar teams that arcing slow range siege damage, giving time for those dryads to perhaps dodge as we see, well, abolish magic do its work, taking down that 600 hit point water elemental like it's nothing. Repairs are underway. Mortar teams know that they have to really just bombard this tree of life, make sure that that economic advantage is not able to be maintained, as we see a quick, well, picking off of some of those units. But 2 riflemen getting taken down there. The mortar teams could have finished off the building, and if Sock had better timing, could have initiated that Scroll of Town portal, saving those 2 riflemen while still finishing off that Tree of Life. It is always a bit of a dangerous gamble, though. We've seen in the past where the building survives with a sliver of hit points, but in this instance, Sock ends up losing 2 additional riflemen, and makes it a costly trade, even though he did shut down the expo, at least for a little while. Mountain King still sitting at level 2, really needs to get to level 3, open up that level 2 Thunderclap or Stormbolt, as the Keeper of the Grove and Naga Sea Witch are both intelligence-based heroes, and, well, can get taken down pretty quickly with a Stormbolt there. All right, repairs are underway. There is a massive army of Druids of the Claw in that frontline position. Perhaps getting into Thunderclap instead would be the proper call, as the Mountain King could then at least slow down some of this Druid of the Claw damage here. Sorceresses trying to apply slow as well. Dryads are actually low on mana because of abolishing so many units, as the Mountain King does get to level 3. All right, big heal here, and that is a Scroll of Town portal back home. No Arcane Vault, though, to try and get in a little bit more heals. All right, show this legend streamer some love, people. Oh, thank you. Thank you for the sub. Coming back across over here on the bottom left-hand side of the map, we are looking at this army of Druids of the Claw. Moon in a great position, as he is once again reestablishing up this expo, this expo in the bottom right-hand side. Archmage going to get ready to engage. Mortar teams are here. Riflemen ready to go as well. Spellbreakers, Priest ready to move out once more. Perhaps put in a pressure on all of these Druids of the Claw, forcing them to retreat back. As you see, the Dryads are now low on mana, and I believe because of the number of Druids of the Claw on the field, I believe the Mountain King should have gone for Thunderclap, and now we see the final third hero in the human army, the glue that holds the heroes together and keeps them alive, that Paladin. We are going to Fragmentation Shards as well, keeping the armies, spreading out that splash damage a little bit more again. Granite Golem going to get taken down. A couple of dire Frost Wolves as well. Those will all get cleaned up. Spellbreakers going to clean up this army here, as we see a quick scroll of Town Portal. Is this Granite Golem going to get taken down before? It does not look like it. Oh, down to 7 hit points. It does end up getting taken down. There's a Thunderclap right there. Druids of the Claw trying to launch their way in. Mountain King, because of that larger radius on that Thunderclap, was actually able to get in some damage here, but he was actually surrounded by a whole bunch of Priest and Mortar teams as well. Are we going to see another Thunderclap? Yes, there we are, slowing things down there. A lot of damage getting racked up. Who's keeping who alive, as the armies now showing 68 supply compared to 82. Moon forced to use a Scroll of Town Portal, as Sock's Scroll of Town Portal actually put him in an unfavorable position. All right, a number of peasants have also been taken down. We are retraining back up, but this base is nearly wide open, as the main gold mines seem to be running out of gold already. A little bit more than 2 minutes left here. I believe that item was dropped. Yeah, it was that unholy aura, that frag or a mortar shard must have been launched. That Granite Golem was down to 7 hit points, and then that little bit of splash damage, enough to finish them off there, giving that Paladin the necessary experience, long distance experience gained to perhaps get to level 2. All right, this Tree of Life once more going to take quite a bit of damage. Wisp already coming off the line to try and get some detonation on all of these casters here. Paladin at level 2, he does have that devotion, or a Mountain King could be in trouble. Scroll of Town Portal quickly getting underway here, trying to heal up some of those units. No Staff of Sanctuaries, as we aren't going into 4 supply units, any of those knights as of yet. I don't believe we saw a Staff of Sanctuary so far. None there, or there. So yeah, Rifleman not getting any of those get out of jail free cards at all. Now, Archmage looking to buy some more Scrolls of Healing, perhaps set up an expo here on the top left. Sock needing to, well, make sure he maintains economic equality here. Moon, remember, he has gone into high upkeep, so the longer the game goes, the better it will be for Sock if and only if he's able to take this top left expo. Right now, all Moon is mining is 8 gold a second compared to Sock's 14 gold a second, nearly double because of that maintenance upkeep on the size of the army. Now, with that said, Moon has been doing a great job with his army, punishing his opponent and dealing some major damage. We are looking at this main gold mine here, only having a minute left. Are we going to see a Scroll of Town Portal? Yes, we are. Where are they going to land? And is it going to be in a favorable or unfavorable spot? That is the question. As well, Spellsteal quickly taking that Aurora away from those bears and giving it to the mortar teams, priests, and sorceresses, and riflemen. We also do have Inner Fire coming in from the priest, and this is all possible because of that Archmage's level 2 Brilliance Aura, keeping all of these units topped off on mana. Massive army on the left side here. We are looking at what the flying machines trying to use, or trying to shoot down those fairy dragons, but the Night Elf army is fully or nearly fully upgraded at 2-3. Riflemen only or the flying machines are only sitting at 1-1, only level 1 armor upgrade there, as we see a quick Scroll of Town Portal to try and defend that outpost again. All right, a couple of units, however, didn't get the memo that they shouldn't be engaging here. So the Druid of the Claw is actually fighting an army back at home, as we see a quick Stormbolt on to a Druid of the Claw there. Quick Staff of Preservation for the save. There's a big Thunderclap across the board. Riflemen, mortar teams should be engaging. The mortar teams need to be actually damaging that front line, or more importantly, that back line of those Dryads with those fragmentation shards. We didn't see some Scrolls of Healing as well, as the Dryads are going splat. That AoE splash damage is quite large, but the Mountain King Illusion getting taken down there. Mountain King continuing to fight in that frontline spot here. Needs a little bit more mana in order to get off another Thunderclap. No, instead goes for a Stormbolt, as we are looking at perhaps a handful of Druids of the Claw starting to fall. Druids of the Claw are now finding their way to the back line position. This is going to start to add up more damage here, as the Archmage quickly says, you know what, I need to get out of this position and teleport back home. Not before a Forked Lightning takes down both a priest and a mortar team, as the army sizes show 69 compared to 74. Now that Moon is back into low upkeep as well, he is mining 14 gold compared to 7, as there is still no expo for Sock. Moon needs to find a way to close out this game. He has the larger army. He has the hero level advantage with a level 5 Keeper of the Grove and a level 5 Naga Sea Witch. But once the Paladin, or once the other heroes start leveling up, though, that could become a drastic difference. All right, there comes a Thunderclap there. Mountain King does have a potion of mana. We need to see a lot of Thunderclaps from him if that Mountain King hopes to slow down much of that damage on those Druids of the Claw. Mortar teams are getting in some splash damage in the back. You can see that dizziness, such a big deal for those Druids of the Claw to try and find their way here. There's another Thunderclap there, constantly slowing down. It is level 2 Thunderclap for that slow, as the Druids of the Claw with the Staff of Preservations, trying to save those lower hit point units. There's another Thunderclap there, taking down one bear and weakening up a bit more. All right, 2 bears already down. Staff of Preservation currently on cooldown. Mountain King trying to finish off more units here as the Druids of the Claw can no longer act as that frontline tank as they are low on hit points. Are we going to see another bear get taken down? No. Staff of Preservation for the save. We could see some archers. Mountain King could easily Stormbolt another bear there. It gets sniped down there as the Staff of Preservation and a little bit of distance separation not allowing that Druid of the Claw to be saved. Bunch of low hit point Druids of the Claw back at, only 3 low hit point Druids of the Claw being saved back at home as we are now looking at a pounding on the Expo here. There are no more wisps in the gold mine, no repairs possible, and the mortar teams are just absolutely destroying this Expo now. We are looking at 1 Expo to 1 Expo, and Sock may have broken through as we're now looking at 71 supply here, advantage fully for Sock as he's pushing into Moon's base. All of the Moon Wells are already dry. Hit points are already low as the Naga Sea Witch and Keeper of the Grove not yet close enough to level 5 to get those ultimate abilities and perhaps turn the momentum around just quite yet. The slowly encroaching human army still pushing its way through. Archmage does have a Staff of Sanctuary, should be able to save some Spellbreakers or some other units as well, as the bears and archers and dryads are just trying to find an opening, perhaps take out some units in transit, and taking out those units in transit, getting a bit of that experience, and then attacking that army head on. All right, Wisp has not tried to expo where his opponent is. We are still looking at this base here, only having a minute of mining left. That is a problem for Sock. Sock is going to find himself, behind economically in the next minute or so because, obviously, Moon still has about a good 8 minutes of, he has over 12 minutes of mining left here. And we're also looking at, I believe, the Tree of Eternity also making its way to try and reestablish this gold mine too. All right, so all the momentum that Sock has, it could be turned around here in just a moment. Time is the, time wins all in real-time strategy games. It's whoever does more with their time as these gold mines are coming to an end. All right, Druids of the Claw fully healed. We are looking at a couple of flying machines getting taken down, but I don't even see that many fairy dragons left. Big Thunderclap trying to slow things up here. Are we going to see another Thunderclap? No, Stormbolt onto a Druid of the Claw instead, as the rest of the archers and dryads are able to escape away. Coming back, 69 supply over 90. Meanwhile, down to the south, 71 over 80. As the Expo is nearing full entanglement, we're going to see 6 more minutes here. So Moon has about 6 minutes to maintain his economic advantage and try to close out that game. 3,600 gold. You can do quite a bit. Train up a large number, replace those units, and get back up to at least 80 supply with some items, perhaps some potions of lesser invulnerability, scrolls of healing, and others. All right, are we going to be looking at a potion of lesser invulnerability here, waiting for that Stormbolt animation? And so is Moon. Moon is pretty much trying to bait the Mountain King into launching a Stormbolt, and then forcing the Keeper of the Grove to use that potion of lesser invulnerability. Instead, we're going to see them attack this gold mine here on the bottom right and take down the Tree of Life. We can see that Moon has already reestablished this Expo outpost base, but as you remember, this Expo has significantly less gold from the start. Now only 5.5 minutes of mining for Moon to try and finish things up. All right, Treants making their way, attacking buildings or putting pressure on buildings when there is absolutely nothing here, as the unholy aura army of that Archmage now trying to march off to the north. What are we going to see? These militia trying to retreat back here as well, and well, there is no real reason for them to be fighting at all. All right, we're going to into engagement now. Mortar team's in that frontline spot. Spellbreaker is going to try to engage. We can see some fairy dragons causing some mana flare problems as well, as the mortar teams are going to be perhaps launching some attacks off against those frontline Druids of the Claw. No Thunderclap to slow them down. Dryad getting taken off. Naga Sea Witch, dangerously low on hit points, has the Potion of Lesser Invulnerability and gets Thunderclapped down. Was transferred over, but not in a time to use the item, as the Mountain King currently out of mana after using that potion of mana there. Meanwhile, Paladin continuing to perhaps trying to finish off a couple of units here. Fairy Dragons back into their normal form. Phase shifting. There is some Staff of Preservation, but with the loss of the Naga Sea Witch, is that going to end up turning things around, as Moon now only needs 14 experience to get to level 6 and perhaps open up Tranquility. All right, Druid of the Claw down to 77 hit points. Mortar team's now going to be going after the Tree of Eternity. And is Salk going to be able to close out this game here? There is still a decent number of hit points on this Tree of Eternity. Druids of the Claw are going to try to engage. Yes, there is that Tranquility, as the Keeper of the Grove quickly gets stunned. Tranquility, as you remember, that cooldown has been increased significantly from 1 minute to, I believe, 3 minutes now. And that was previously one of the reasons why Tranquility was so powerful. It was seemingly unending. As long as the Keeper of the Grove had mana, the Night Elf army had hit points. All right, Dryads, are we going to perhaps see some Abolish Magic? Naga Sea Witch now with Tornado as well, but that Mountain King with Stormbolt able to stop any channeled abilities. All right, looking for some constructive feedback. This is a great, great game. And still, my viewer count is actually dropping. So if you're watching on YouTube, let me know if you got to this point of the video, why you would actually leave. Anyways, coming back around, Mountain King in that frontline spot, finding another Stormbolt onto the Naga Sea Witch. Naga Sea Witch in a little bit of trouble, now surrounded by bears. Going to try and engage once more. Wisps and want to get detonation on that backline. Beautiful Thunderclap across all of the, all of the Druids of the Claw in that frontline position. Still charging their way through. Keeper of the Grove could lead the charge. Has a Scroll of the Beast, which really should be sold, since, well, all of those Druids of the Claw, perhaps getting another Scroll of Healing would be better. Mountain King in that frontline spot, but without any mana, not posing as big of a threat. Dual Staff of Preservations could save some more Druids of the Claw, as now Spellbreakers are getting taken down. Hippogriffs are trying to challenge any flying machines that are in the air. Entangle finding another mortar team and will pick it off again. All right. 40 supply going up against 63. And, well, Archmage, Mountain King, and Paladin continuing to do a little bit of creeping. This little bit of creeping is very beneficial for the tri-hero combination, as it is still gaining experience, as opposed to the Naga Sea Witch and the Keeper of the Grove, who, well, is unable to get any more experience from the map. We can see this Granite Golem clearing out these units here. We can see a Wisp now making its way over. There's a quick detonation trying to clear up a bit of mana. And are we going to see a potential Creep Jack here? That's going to change the game. Keeper of the Grove trying to make its way back around. Hippogriffs or Mortar teams are going to be forced to deal with a couple of Dryads here. What item was dropped, I do not know. Unholy, was the Granite Golem not taken out? No, it was taken out. Unholy Aura there. Maybe it was dropped again? Or maybe the Granite Golem was taken out earlier and it was just trying to go after the... I thought I saw the Granite Golem, though. Alright. Anyways, coming back through, Mountain King trying to lead the charge here. Keeper of the Grove is in position. There's a big Thunderclap across the center, slowing things down, adding in a bit more damage. Dryads could easily get some Abolish Magic onto those Water Elementals here. And, well, finish them off. Meanwhile, Naga Sea Witch down to 260 hit points, uses the Potion of Lesser Invulnerability this time around, as the Mountain King could be in trouble, needs to get a Holy Light, invisibility, and then followed by a Holy Light right there. Perhaps Paladin's staff or Holy Light was on cooldown. Another Staff of Preservation onto the Naga Sea Witch. She's able to stay alive, as the Mountain King now going to get surrounded. All right, a bit of troubles. Mountain King trying to slip through a wall of Druids of the Claw, and is able to do exactly that, as the units are still retreating back. Archmage damage. Did it have level 3 Brilliance Aura? He does. Level 3 Brilliance Aura trying to keep all of the mana alive for all of these units. And I guess mana is now the ultimate resource since no one is harvesting any gold. Mana is going to translate into hit points or for your own units with heals and rejuvenations, damage with storm bolts, entangles, and fork lightnings, as well. Time still the precious resource that gives everything here. All right, Mountain King in that frontline position. There's a big thunderclap, still only at level 4, not the level 5 variety, unable to slow things down enough as we see a Staff of Sanctuary bring that Mountain King back home. Mountain King needs 200 more hit points before he can come back online. Is he going to get back online in time? Yes, he is, but not before the Keeper of the Grove is going to use the opportunity of the stunned Mountain King because of the Staff of Sanctuary to fully heal up the army once more. All right, close game on both sides, 40 supply compared to 59. Who is going to be able to win out this battle? The mortar team's siege range, really a big deciding factor here, as the Naga Sea Witch hasn't really shown any use of Tornado as of yet. Paladin is in trouble. Paladin gets surrounded and taken down, and that may be it. Losing the Paladin, the glue that is holding the army together, and Moon comes away with the victory. A lot of back and forth action, a lot of opportunities to close out the game by both players, and it comes down to a single slip up, losing the level 4 Paladin by Sock, which causes him to lose the game. Beautiful game, a lot of momentum shifts, great map awareness, great resource management, time management, just classic Warcraft 3 at its best. Let me know what you guys thought about this game in the comments below.